Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey everybody, my guest today is Sonny Sandoval, known primarily for being the frontman for the platinum Christian nu metal band POD. He's just written a book called Son of Southtown, My Life Between Two Worlds. So obviously we had to get together to talk about the book and much more. So Sonny, I was a little late to the POD party back in the day. I was on the East Coast, you know. But you definitely are on my iPod if I could ever find it.
All right.
Yeah, so I really have loved your music over the years, but I know you're out doing your book tour. I got my book Saturday and read it by Sunday night.
Wow.
I couldn't put it down, Sonny.
That's so awesome.
It hasn't been out very long, but what has the overall response been so far?
It's great. Yeah. I think we charted somewhere there, and the reception has been great online. Social media. I mean, everybody's reposting, and there's been getting so many DMs and emails of just what it means to them. And so I couldn't ask for more than that. Been doing some promo last couple weeks. Actually was all day yesterday. I didn't get home till early in the morning, and then I've been up since 7 this morning, already doing Zooms and interviews and stuff like that. So it's been a whirlwind, but I got to get it all done before I take off on tour. So I'm grateful that people are paying attention.
Okay, one of the reasons I could not put this book down was because of the people in your book. So stay with me for a minute. I know a lot of the pivotal people that are in your life. Okay.
Yeah.
Travis Wyrick, hilarious dude.
I love Travis.
And I've interviewed him. Brian Headwelch, of course. Absolutely love the man. He prayed with my brother and was the catalyst for him to accept Christ 3 years before my brother was murdered.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And but I know where he is because of Brian.
Yes.
So Brian and the Love and Death had been some very good friends of mine. So Josh and Lacey Sturm, oh my gosh, the nicest and best people on this planet. Okay.
Oh yeah.
She's prayed for me, anointed me with oil several times, praying for my spine to be healed. I love those guys. Spent a lot of time with them. Let's see. I got to meet Trey when he was with World Gone Cold when I catered for them in Jacksonville. I interviewed Ryan Reese as well. Let's see. I know the Islander guys, Mikey and Chris, really, really well.
These are all my people.
I know. This is what I'm saying. I've been backstage with Korn a couple of times. And then actually, my nickname, Mothership, the mother of J.R. Barice, nicknamed me Mothership.
Oh, wow.
See, so we've been living in a parallel universe and have not met yet.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, here we are.
So when I was reading this book, I'm like going, I know all these people, but not only that, even, before I started really getting into this and doing this as a ministry, working in youth ministry and going to shows and stuff, it was neat to see it from your perspective, some of the stuff that we experienced as fans, going to these shows and stuff. And that's one of the things I really liked about it was, I could relate to it so well. It was very personal.
Yeah.
It's very conversational and easy to read. So that's my book review. So now it's your turn. Tell us about the book.
It's my first book. I hope to do more. I feel like I can write 10 more books and fill in all the details, because this is Son of Southtown, My Life Between Two Worlds. It was intentional, written that way to feel like a conversation. It's an easy read, fast forward look, from my family to when I was born in my neighborhood and my friends, growing up in a neighborhood, where your options are limited.
Right.
You're either selling drugs or getting into trouble and going to prison, or dying. And then watching, God encounter my family and watching my family come to faith, and then my mom getting sick, and then me making that decision to follow Jesus. At the time I thought I was just making her proud. I made a deal with God where I would, if he would give me my mom's Jesus, I would follow him, and so I tried to keep up my end of the deal, and I started to read his word and hang around, people that believe the same, and just my experience has just been all over the place in an amazing way. But once I started to discover who my mom's Jesus was, I wanted the world to see that Jesus and not the Jesus that they see. And so I asked God, I said, I don't know what I have. I don't have these tools and gifts, but if you can use my life, please do that, and I don't have much to give you, God, but use it. And I got asked to be in this band that I said no to because it's not natural for me to be in front of a crowd and hear my voice on a microphone. And I don't want to entertain anybody. That's not what I want to do, and
don't I remember you singing with your back to the crowd?
yeah, I was so afraid. I was so scared, and I don't know why I was scared. It was all my people, it was all my friends, but it's just so unnatural for me, after all these years in front of millions of people, you ask me to give a speech or say something, I still get those nerves and I start sweating, and it's just, that's me, right?
Yeah,
I'm more shy by nature. So I had actually said no to the guys when they asked me to be in the band, but a lot of things had happened that was confirmation to me that I felt like God was saying this was something I needed to do. But I never thought I'd quit my job or leave San Diego and then leave, the state and the United States. And here we are 33 years later. But that's what this book is kind of about. It's just going through that journey of labels and struggles and everything the world has to throw at you. But here I am, and I can confidently say, because I've had an encounter with the living God, I don't want anything different. Lots of things look great, and we all struggle with temptation, but I wouldn't trade my peace of mind for anything. My relationship with God is so intimate. I would never give that up. I would never trade that for anything.
Yeah, exactly. I never wanted to do this either. Of course, a much smaller scale than what you're doing. But I mean, I was like, I hate to hear my voice. I don't want to do this.
Right? Yeah.
But God opened all the doors, and as I tell people all the time, God opens doors and I stumble through them because
that's right.
It's like, I don't understand this, but I'm gonna see what happens, So I get that.
That's why and when God uses that, because we're honest, we're vulnerable. We're saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, or hey, I'm not perfect, or I don't have it all figured out, but I'm just trusting God because I know He's good, and I'm gonna walk through this door and we'll see what happens. And that's throughout the Bible. That's why God uses broken people. We always think that God uses the superstars and everybody who's got it figured out, but that's not the case. God uses broken people so that He can get the glory.
Amen. One of the things I saw in here, so I've got a few things marked in my book. You said something about how you weren't a storyteller. That's a lie. You either weren't one and became one, but you are a storyteller in the way that your music is stories.
Yeah, I think for me it just maybe it just was subconscious, or it came to me, and because I write that I'm not, I never took a creative writing lesson, or, I'm not like a poet, or I don't journal every day. It's just it's part of this process, and I'm continuing to learn throughout it. But yeah, sometimes it's just easier to tell a story and to try to relate to people, and obviously that's how Jesus was too. He kind of told a story. It's our job to figure out the mystery of that story.
Yeah. Well, you also mentioned in the book about the song, I don't know what you're doing, Lord, but I know what you've already done. That's kind of my theme too.
Yeah, right. It keeps us going. It keeps us going. We're not supposed to know everything today or tomorrow, but that's where our faith lies, is because we do trust in God, and we know that even if today is tough or it's a little difficult, or whatever mood or feeling I'm in, that I know that God promises joy in the morning time, and so I just got to make it through, do my best to make it through, and on my own I probably couldn't do it, but with Him I can.
Amen. Another thing that I noted that popped off the page at me was when you were talking about the struggle of, when you were younger and you were writing songs maybe that were a little bit more abrasive or like in your face and sort of things. And someone said to you, don't forget to lead in love. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were just so young and green, as in a band. We were teenagers, and I was new to my faith, and I guess you just kind of think that this is what I'm supposed to do, or we come from the neighborhood, so it's like we're always used to defending,
Yeah.
and it was like it's not till you have a relationship with God that you realize I don't. First of all, I can't defend God. I don't need to.
Hmm.
God defends me, so I don't have to fight. I don't have to be so in your face. And I think we were just that way. Plus, our music was aggressive, so
Right.
it's already in your face, And now to the world, the moment you mention Jesus, it's even 1,000 times more offensive. The
Yeah.
name Jesus alone is offensive.
Right.
Put that behind a heavy soundtrack, the world don't know what to do. They're
Hmm.
they're 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 scared, for
Yeah.
all the wrong reasons. They're scared.
Yeah.
And so for us, this gentleman, I still don't even remember his name. He played around town, and he would play, the coffee shops, and he would do his acoustic stuff. And he started to watch us play. We were playing all the bars and the clubs, and he saw our aggressiveness, and it was just a little letter that he sent him. We didn't have emails back then. He sent
Yeah.
a letter, and it was very kind and just loving. And he reminded us that first he complimented us, like, I love your guys' fire, I love the zeal. He
Hmm.
said, but don't forget to lead in love. He's like, you're playing places that most of us Christians will never play, and you're gonna have a platform that
Hmm.
most of us will never have. So, instead of just being right, it's basically what he's saying in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Instead of being right, and in people's face, just lead in love. Because, and he also said, you're being invited into someone's house.
Right.
These bars and all these people, that's someone's house. And when you go in there, it's like you want to be invited back. And so if you just kind of common sense, you're like, yeah, I do. I don't want to go down or go and just burn this place down in the name of hardcore or in the name of like my faith. I want to go there and love them so that they invite me back, and I can keep on coming back.
Yeah. Scorched earth policy is not the best when you're trying to spread the gospel.
Yeah, but you learn.
Right.
We were
Right.
kids.
They ought to lock us up for about a year when we first become Christians.
Right, right. It's like when you give your life to the Lord, it's like just stay in the house for a year.
Yeah.
Don't go out, don't say nothing, just
Saying the
learn.
word, just learn.
Yes, just mature a little bit and then go out. And I mean, we all have the same story.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah. But you guys are masters at walking. I think you called it in the book, walking the secular and sacred line. And it's so effective. Not everybody can do that.
I mean, if we continue to journey through it, trust me, you ask any of the guys, it's like we all love the Lord, but it's like we all have our different walks with God, and we've been hurt in so many places, we've been jaded, we've been angry, we've gone through all this stuff. And
Hmm.
the one thing we could agree with at the end is like, hey, I love God, and we love each other, and we love making music together, and we're all on our different paths, and to some our relationship with God is more personal.
Hmm.
To me, just I think maybe because I've been handed the position of frontman, it's something I'm already trying to say it through my lyrics. I'm trying to say it through the book. I'm trying to say it in my actions, most of all, before I just say it. I want to try to live it the best I can, and I think that's the easiest way. And we've tried to be as honest as we can. We don't have it figured out. This,
Hmm.
I keep saying, this book is not a how to do Christianity in 5 steps. It's not
Yeah.
that. I'm saying I desperately need God every day, or I would be a different human being. Might not even be the best human being now. I'm not even saying that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it if I didn't walk in the grace and the love and the mercy of God. But it's an incredible journey, and I know we live in a time where people are so anxious, and there's suicidal thoughts and
Yeah.
depression. The world is so fast,
Yeah.
but it's because I know who God is, that he reminds me to, hey, be still, or take it easy. Don't be anxious. I love you. I'm in control. I got you.
Hmm.
And that's it. But most people don't see God that way. They
Hmm.
just see a God that has been misrepresented by those of us who say we know him. And so people hold on to that rather than finding out for themselves who the real God is.
Talking about all the things that you guys have been through while walking this fine line really strikes a chord with me because that's why I started doing what I do. I got concerned about how the church was not ministering to the heavier artists, partially hesitant about whether you're legit, whether you're really Christians, that whole thing. but just not understanding the music and how it ministers to people. When somebody comes to your church to minister to your people, maybe an evangelist or something, what do? We feed them. We make sure they
Yeah.
have gas in their car. They give them a place to
Uh-huh.
stay. And, we send them on their way. But what does the church do when Christian bands come to town?
Yes.
Nothing.
I've been screaming that for years. These bands, they are missionaries.
I've always called them musicianaries.
Yes, they are musicianaries. There's so many young hardcore bands that are, they're in the trenches with these other bands
Yeah.
every night in these secular clubs and playing in front of people and stuff. And then, they can do that when they're 20 and 21, and then a few years into their career, they're like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want a real job.
Right.
I can't do this anymore. And so they all of a sudden you're like, do you hear so and so broke up? Do you hear so? And it's
They
like,
got tired of
man,
sleeping in Walmart parking lots in their van.
exactly. And yeah, eating truck food and that's unfortunate. I wish the church would recognize the power and the impact that these musicians have. They don't want to just entertain. They're not trying to entertain Christians. They're out in the world and they're like, we have something to say.
Right.
But, until we can define whether or not the church or Christians believe that they're legit or not, that's the problem. They're still trying to, well, are they really godly? Are they really doing the Lord's work? And it's like, we're losing so much ground. For years, we've been losing so much ground.
Another story in your book I wanted to discuss. Brian Head Welch had shared with me how the Holy Spirit kept bringing him back to the word reconciliation, which led him to return to Korn with a new mission. So I enjoyed reading that same story from your perspective.
Yeah.
I don't remember him telling me you goaded him on, but but in your book, you touch on reconciliation in your own life as well. Can you share a little bit about how important reconciliation is?
I mean, I'm still learning and figure that out. Our lives are filled with relationships.
Mhm.
And, as we grow, we get older, we change, relationships change. I'm still learning how to do that. I sometimes I hide my feelings, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'd rather just, walk the other way than confront things and hit them head on. I'd rather just, that's human nature, With Brian too, I knew that, I would explain to him, he wasn't walking away from the guys, even though they might have felt that way, or that's how the world paints it. But he was just taking a moment to figure out his life, and he needed that. But the moment he discovered that, he knew who Jesus was. It was like, you don't have to be afraid of your own shadow. You can go and rebuild those relationships, because I knew that the guys in Korn, they needed to see him who he was now.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing. And it's not because it's like, I did this to follow Jesus and I'm so good and I'm so perfect and Korn is so bad. It's by him going back was just saying, no, dude, I know who I am in Jesus, and I love my brothers, and I want to make music with them, and I want to be with them, and I want to walk this journey with them. And I do the same thing with my guys. We don't all think the same. My relationship with my cousin, the drummer in our band, he's not with us right now because we're going through real life things. But I know that in time it'll get better. I know God's not going to leave it hanging. He's so good at he's so good at relationships, and we're not. And so I'm just trying to learn the best way I can. But it's important, because I think that's what people don't understand, is that God wants to have a relationship with you. He doesn't want to have religion with you. He wants to walk and talk with you. He wants you to know who he is. He wants to be everything to you. It's like the way I am with my kids. It's like, man, I want my kids to love me because they love me, and I want to protect them, and I want to look out for them, and I want them to know how much I love them. And it's the same thing with God. It's a real personal relationship.
Yeah. Sort of like leading with love.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. I mean, we don't, we have to learn it from somewhere. And
right.
I think when you come to the realization of how much God loves you, and it becomes this deep-rooted thing, it shows you how to love. I wouldn't know how to love unless God loved me first. And I'm trying. Yeah.
You're doing the interview circuit for this book right now. Is there anything that you haven't told anyone else in an interview about the book that you'd like to share?
I guess you gotta get to the end where I try to wrap it up. I love the part where I'm having conversation with my son. We're in the Faroe Islands. He did a European run with me, and he was only 12, and it's me having a
Yeah.
intimate conversation with him, and it's just me wrapping up really the essence of God and living your life, and being free and not living under that burden of even Christians telling you how you're supposed to live your life, and this is God. It's like I know God, and I just want you to experience all the best that God has for
Yeah.
you. And you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna go through ups and downs, but God is with you,
Yeah.
and hopefully the book builds that up into that. But then also in the epilogue, I'm saying, I'm not a rich man. I don't have it figured out. I still go through life just like you, but I can't walk without or following God or having God on my side, and I want people to relate to that. You got it all figured out, or you're a rock star, or you must have money, you're famous. I see you on TV. It's like, no, I've been through so much, and this is a journey. It is a
Yeah.
it is a journey with God, and I want everybody to take that journey and be ready for that journey, because it doesn't mean because you discover God or you accept God into your life that life is going to be a bed of roses. It doesn't mean you're not going to get sick. It doesn't
Right.
mean you're not going to experience struggles and hardships and lose loved ones. That's God is not a genie in a bottle for you, but He walks with you. And when you know that He's there, you also know that you can make it through whatever life throws at
Yeah.
you.
Your latest album is called Veritas, and it's been out for almost a whole year now.
Yeah.
Great album. Fantastic. It's really solid. And you got anything you
Oh,
want to share
thank you.
about it?
Yeah, I mean, we're super proud of it. I still think that, it could be one of the best records we've written. Definitely one of my top three. Um, but we're super stoked. We just released another single, I Won't Bow Down. We did a Spanish chorus version with Andres from the band Animal from Argentina, and
Hmm.
he's singing the chorus in Spanish. And so we're really excited that that's out there kind of in the Latin worlds and cultures. It's still new. So we're going to be touring last year. We did all the big festivals. We went over to
Yeah.
Europe. We did a rundown in South America. We're staying busy.
Yeah.
We're leaving for Europe here in 2 weeks. We're going out with Godsmack and Drowning Pool. So we're really excited. We still love playing our music live,
Yeah.
especially after COVID. I think personally, I have a newfound appreciation for the fact that I've been able to do this for so long. And I think before COVID, we were so used to playing so much. Yeah, you get tired. We're getting older. But when you told me I couldn't do this for 2 years, that was scary.
Yeah.
So now, every show we play, we look at each other and we're just like, this is cool. We're still doing this.
A lot of bands that had quit or gone on hiatus came back because of the pandemic. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Uh,
people, I mean, music especially during that time, it's like it was unfortunate that they labeled musicians as non-essential. It's like, dude, that's one of the main things I did in COVID. I needed music to just settle my heart, my mind down, and I think a lot of young people that were sitting at home, I think they probably dug on the internet and into the music crates, and they were discovering music that they never heard before, and there's nothing new under the sun, but like every good thing,
yeah.
it usually
Comes back
comes
around.
back around again. And then now it's our generation, and you could see it even in their clothing. The baggy clothes are back, and the
Yeah.
certain styles, and
Jinkos,
you
baby.
know, yeah. Oh man, if my son says it, if you would have just kept your jean clothes, he's like, I'd have made a fortune. But it's a good thing. That's a good
Yeah.
thing that we're digging back.
Do you have a favorite album you've been listening to recently?
I've been digging a lot of hardcore bands. There's a band called Stick to Your Guns from Orange County, hardcore band. There's a band called Straight from the Path from Long Island. These aren't even Christian bands.
Hmm.
I love any band that can come out and just say, this is what I believe in. And I might
Yeah.
agree, 100% agree, but I love that you have a passion, a fire, and that hardcore scene hasn't changed. They're saying, I am who I am, whether you like me or not, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, we're loving that you're still doing what you're doing. When POD is done, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh man, as much as I love this band, it's my heart, it's my passion. It's means so much to me, and I'm so grateful. But POD doesn't define who I am.
Right.
I love it. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I get to do this still. And I couldn't imagine anything better.
Yeah.
Right. But it
Right.
doesn't define who I am. I love God first. He's
Yeah.
everything to me. I'm grateful for and absolutely, love my wife, who I'll be married 29 years. I've been with my wife 35 years.
Wow.
I have
Congrats.
thank you. I have three wonderful, beautiful kids who are the best of both of us. And I want to see them be all that they can be and accomplish all that they want. And yeah, I want to be remembered as a man who loved God, as a man who loved his wife and his kids, and he loves his friends and his family, and tried the best that he could to be a light in this crazy, wild, and dark world. I
Yeah.
tried the best that I could, and music was a very big part of that.
Yeah. Any quick updates on the Whosoevers?
I just came back from, I was there all day yesterday at Calvary Chapel Golden Springs, and I got to do all three services with Papa Raw and kind of catch everybody up. And then we did a concert with Dominic Bali at the end of the night, and I got to sign a bunch of books, and it was such an amazing turnout. But Ryan came out, flew in, and interviewed me, and we're doing good. I mean, that was the whole point with the Whosoevers, is to be who we are in this world, and know that we have a brotherhood and a sisterhood that's like-minded. We all are in the industries, but we still love God. We're not compromising. We're not telling the world they're going to hell and that we're better than them. It's just us living out our life in excellence the best that we can, and loving people and helping people and serving people along the way. And so, Head is he's a whosoever in his world. I'm a whosoever in my